everyone, happy 4th of July and welcome to Cooking Corner with me, Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. Today for you, we're going to be making some patriotic deviled eggs. Now, in terms of ingredients, you're going to need the following. You're going to need 3 strips of bacon. You're going to need salt. You're going to need some Dijon mustard. You're going to want sriracha. You're going to want some mayonnaise. You're going to need paprika. And of course, you're gonna need some eggs. Now, in terms of hardware, you're gonna need the following. You're gonna need some tongs and a frying pan to cook your bacon. You're gonna need a pot to boil your eggs in. Now, your pot should be large enough that water can sit an inch above the eggs and so that all the eggs can fit on the bottom of the pan. You're gonna need a small to medium mixing bowl and a large bowl that you can put all your eggs in so they sit nicely on the bottom, and you can cover them with ice water. You're also going to need a patriotic platter for the 4th of July. You're going to need a Ziploc and a pair of scissors to repipe your eggs. And you're going to need a spoon and a knife to scoop and cut your eggs. Moving on to step number 1. And step number 1, as always, is going to be wash your hands. Go ahead, turn your water on, stick your mitts underneath, get them nice and moist. Once you've got some wet hands, I recommend applying some soap. 2 squirts is my preference. Rub that soap all around, get in between the fingers, get on the back of the knuckles. Once your hands are nice and soapy, stick them back under the water, wash all that soap off. Once you give your hands a clean, you can turn the water off, flick your fingers out, grab a towel, red and white for America, and then ready to cook. Moving on to step number 2. And step number 2 is going to be boil your eggs. Now, what you're going to need to do is add all 1 dozen of your eggs to your pot. Once you've got your eggs in your pot, you're going to add room temperature water and a pinch of salt. Importantly, make sure you fill your pot such that the water level is 1 inch above the top of your eggs. Now you're just going to add a pinch of salt. Then you can cover it and turn on the heat until it starts to boil. While your eggs are heating up in your pot, you can move on to step number 3. And step number 3 is going to be cook your bacon. So you're just going to cook 3 pieces of bacon in a pan until they're crispy. Once your bacon is cooked, you can transfer it to a plate with a paper towel on it to drain off that excess grease. Once your water starts to boil, you're going to take it off of the heat and let it sit covered for 10 to 12 minutes. Once your eggs have had time to sit on the counter for 10 to 12 minutes while covered, you can move on to step number 4. Step number 4 is going to be transfer your eggs. So your eggs have had time to sit covered on the counter for 10 to 12 minutes. You're going to take the lid off, get yourself your tongs, and transfer your eggs into a bowl of ice water. Once your eggs have been sitting in your ice bath, you can fish one out, shake it off a little bit. Then you're going to lightly tap it on the counter to crack the shell. Once you have a crack, you can put it down on the counter and start rolling that crack around the egg. Once the crack is more widespread, you can start peeling the shell off. Once you've finished peeling the shells off your eggs, you can get rid of your ice water and your egg shells. Moving on on to step number 5. And step number 5 is going to be scoop out your yolks. Now that we've boiled our eggs, we can cut them in half. Take the whites and put them on a platter, and take the yolks and scoop them into your mixing bowl. Once you've scooped all the yolks out of your eggs, you're ready to move on to step number 6. Step number 6 is going to be make your filling. So, you've got all your egg yolks in a bowl here. Just use the back of a fork to smoosh them all together. Now that you've smooshed up all your egg yolks, you can add your bacon bits from your 3 pieces of bacon, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, a tablespoon of sriracha, and a 1/3 cup of mayonnaise. Once all your ingredients are in there, you can just mix it up. Once your mixture is all combined, you're ready to move on to step number 7. Step number 7 is going to be re-pipe your eggs. So, you're going to need a Ziploc bag. Open that bad boy right up and put your yolk mixture inside of it. Once your yolk mixture is inside, squeeze it all down to one corner of the bag. Once you've got it all squeezed to one corner of the bag, you can take your scissors and cut the tip off. Congratulations, you've just created your very own piping bag. Now that you've got your piping bag filled with your yolk mixture, you're going to re-pipe your deviled eggs. Go ahead, lower your piping bag to an egg and squeeze. Importantly, you're going to want to overfill your halved eggs. What I mean by that is that you want your yolk mixture to sit above the rest of the egg. Now that you've re-piped your eggs, it's time for the final step, which is going to be plating. But Giuseppe, they're already plated. You're right. But now, to finish them off, we're going to sprinkle some paprika over the top. These deviled eggs look and smell delicious, but now it's time for a taste test. Go ahead, select your deviled egg. Once you have it, put the whole thing in your mouth and enjoy. That was These eggs are sure to turn your Independence Day barbecue into the envy of the neighborhood because they're excellent. That concludes this week's episode of Cooking Corner with me, Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I certainly know I did. If you liked this video, leave a like below so I know I did a good job. If there's something you want to see on the channel, leave it in the comments and I'll try to make it for you. If you like videos like this, subscribe to my channel. I'm putting out new content all the time. Have a happy Independence Day and bye-bye now. Working out much better than I thought it would.